Hey Facebook friends, how you doing? Today I wanted to take a little time to talk about a couple of things, but the most important and the topic of today is reacting on a temporary time. Basically, what this means is how people are typically acting when something is really temporary. And so today's subject is on that, and I got some things on the board. So let's go around the board and let's talk about it a little bit. I should have turned off my fan, so let me turn off this fan right quick. Okay, so we can all hear. All right, so let me switch this around so we can get right into it. All right, so I put on the board, don't act permanently for a temporary time up there, but today we're going to talk about the seasons of things and the long suffering of things. All right, and the two topics that we're going to get into is relationships and business. Within relationships, we're going to talk about God, mate, and self. Okay, in relationships, in seasons, all things in life has seasons. So like, for example, the relationship between you and God, there's a up and down season. Sometimes I feel good with God and sometimes I don't want to be with God because everything seems okay and so on and so forth. Now, when it comes to your mate, there is a good time, bad time, good time. So the cycles are very frequent and we'll get into that one. And self. Sometimes you need to self-enrich yourself, and sometimes you do, or sometimes you don't. And likewise, in the business side, there are cycles, good times and cycles, bad times, good times and bad times. Okay, when it comes all things, let me turn this thing around. When it comes to all things in relationships, everything has a cycle in life. And sometimes people act or react because of the very things that happen in life. So, for example, in business, you have a side of you that has good times in your business or your job, and then sometimes you can get fired. And then when you get fired, what do? Sometimes you panic and sometimes you don't. Hey, what's going on? And then things like that. In relationships, now, when you have a mate and the cycles are very frequent and good in times, one of the things that I really want you guys to understand in cycles, when you have a work or a job, like the job is you're working here and then you get fired. When you get fired, then you'll start finding another job and then so on. But then there's the work aspect of it, and that is when we talk about entrepreneurship. Now, when it comes to mates, you have good times, bad time, good time, bad time. To better have a better mate in your life is when you have someone is, let me revert this so you can see it better. Somebody who's physically abusing you, someone is mentally abusing you, someone is continuously lying, somebody is continuously deceiving you. You need to let those people go. You need to let that mate go. And then you need to start all over. But at the end of the day, if your job is good and then bad, one of the things about your job that you have to be considering is self. Are you self enriching yourself to become better? All right. This is your work and your job. If you go to work every single day and every day you say, I hate my job, or you want to better yourself, just because you've been there 5, 10, 15 years doesn't mean you need a raise. What gets a person a raise is simply enriching yourself with knowledge, how to become a better leader, and so on and so forth. So, in all things, and we'll talk about that in a few seconds, in all things, there will come a time when we get to long suffering. Okay, I know it's backwards, but we'll talk about it. Time, when you start off a time, God, mate, self, and in your business or work, there's going to come a time when, like in, for example, Numbers 14:18, it talks about when God says in long suffering, he's going to get tired and then he's going to curse you. Well, if in your mate, If you have physical, mental lies and deceit in your relationship, you need to stop. If you get fired and get hired in good days and bad days, you need to start thinking about job versus work. But in all things, there will be a time when things stop. Now, what happens when things stop? Time, the season of it all. You're going to get burnt out in it. What happens? So I want to bring something into the picture, and I want you guys to really look at something right here, and then I want you to tell me what you see. All right, see this picture right here? All right. What do you see? Tell me what is it that you see. Yeah, you see some poor kids, they need clothes, no shoes, but what do you see? Okay. In seasons, we know seasons come and go. We know there's going to time that something's going to stop. But what do you see? How do you enrich your life from a continuation of ups and downs and seasons? And how do you have a successful life? This example is the key. What did you see as kids? No clothes, no shoes. Some of you might have seen the idea of, oh my gosh, these are poor kids. What do we do to help these poor kids? Hey, what's going on, Manuel? But on the other hand, what if I told you the same person who sees this, another person will see a shoe business or a clothing business? In a crisis, and this is, let's change it because seasons, we're talking about in good times and bad times, but in a crisis, so we have a crisis. In all things, there's going to be a crisis. Now, maybe not to this extent, but in cycles of life, there's going to be crisis. Your relationship is going to seem like it's messed up in your personal and yourself and your business and your work ethics. What happens when it stops? What happens when things happen in your life and all hell breaks loose? It all depends on how you see it. So what did you see here, right? What did you see? If you saw a poor person, there's another person who sees opportunity. Let me give you an example of what I mean by opportunity. Here we go. Let me put this right there. Let me switch you guys around. Japan, this word crisis in Japan, there is no word for crisis in Japan. There's two words that says danger and opportunity. So a Chinese or Japan person or Chinese person, when they see that there's danger, they also see opportunity. So I'll give you an example of this scenario here. There is a guy who actually went out to India, and he actually went and did the touristy thingy in his 20s, and all of a sudden he looked out his window and he saw all these poverty people. His friend saw poverty. He saw shoe store. He went back to the States. He then was in college and then started designing shoes, and then he dropped out of college and then he continuously designed shoes and he continuously did these things, and all of a sudden he's got some investors and he's got everybody, and next thing you know, what's his name? Tom McAn is his name. So for an example, Tom McGann has started a shoe store, and he's nationally known right now, and including his friend who actually went to college with him. When Tom decided to drop out of school and started his shoe business, his friends continued school, and Tom hired him to be in his accountant. This is why you see in crisis certain Asian people, for example, they can get into a middle of the ghetto, start a business, and it seems like it's working. Well, how is it that the Asian can go in the middle of the ghetto, but the ghetto people are still in the ghetto? Well, let me help you understand certain things. Let me flip this thing around. So, in Japan, for example, When there's a word crisis, they say danger, and there's an opportunity in the danger. So this is danger, but what's the opportunity? None of them has shoes. Start a shoe. None of them has decent clothes. Start clothes. What about food? What about shelter? Those are the very basics. Now, when other cultures see danger, they see opportunity. When United States people see crisis, this is what they see: fear, trauma, depression, frustration, anxiety, loneliness, worry. So that means is this: when you have a mate and your mate has a physical, mental, lies, deceive, and you break up with them, what did that mean? That means you feel in trauma, depression, loneliness, worry. Other people see danger, opportunity. When your business is going good and all of a sudden you get laid off, going good and you get laid off, and you get tired of that cycle, you went from a job to work, the danger to opportunity, you see danger, what's your opportunity? If you're smart and you look for the opportunity in your danger, in your crisis, then instead of having fear, trauma, depression, frustration, anxiety, loneliness, worry, find the opportunity of anything and everything. And that's the key of what I'm talking about, reacting to temporary time. Okay? If you're reacting, you'll find yourself falling into an emotional, mental roller coaster with frustrations and anxieties, loneliness. And so your mate is going to be crazy. Your self-enrichment side of you is going to be, your job is crazy. Your God relations in God is going to be not as good. So what is the point that I'm trying to make in reacting in a temporary time? And that is this: start to find opportunity in all of your situations, good and bad, especially if it's good. If things are going good for you, it is the perfect time to start to look for opportunities, because all things will go bad shortly. All right. So that's what I got today. I hopefully it helps someone out there. But cycles, everything has a cycle in life. But in all things, keep in mind, when things stop, look like another culture. Danger and opportunity in the crisis. Don't have all of these emotional trauma thingies that's going on. Find the opportunity in all things, and then just continue on. Is it going to be easy? No. But it'd be better. Long term, at least. Anyway, so this is Dr. Bagley. Hopefully I help someone out in this. If nothing else, please give me comments, concerns. If nothing else, I will talk to you later. Have a great Monday, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.